Hey writers and book lovers alike, welcome back to You Can Write Too. I'm your host, Aléce Land, and for today's video, I'm going to talk about something a little more close to home, I think, for a lot of writers, probably every writer that has at least been writing for a good bit, which is writer's block. And I want to kind of give you guys my tips on how you can overcome writer's block, and that does not mean it's the end of your writing career, because I'm sure we've all been through it. But before we get started, me and my mom have books available on Amazon. They're always linked in the description box down below, so please check those out so you can support fellow indie authors. Also, we have an Instagram and a Pinterest and a website. Our website is linked in our About section. Still trying to figure out how to link our Pinterest and Instagram. Yes, so let's just get started. Let's waste no time. So tip number one, I would say, is to take a break. So this might not be what someone wants to hear if someone is really like on a time crunch or just really wants to get this book out. Taking a break might be the necessary thing for you to do. You might be burned out. You might have been overworking yourself with life in general, and right now your brain just cannot balance writing right now. And it doesn't have to be like a long-term like break. It can just be for a few days, you know? Just take some few days to cool off, to just rest your brain, rest your imagination. And who knows, once you go back to that manuscript, you might have ideas again. And honestly, this works because sometimes I'm just so exhausted, don't want to work on anything, cannot work on anything. The thought of working on a book makes me want to throw up, okay? And taking a break from it for a few days always helps me be able to recuperate and get back into that story and revisit my love for that story. So I hope that helps. The second thing I would say is to swap projects. Okay, so this is kind of, I guess, ties into the first idea, which is, so I think if you have writer's block with a specific project, even if that's like your main work in progress, you might need to just take a break from that and jump to something else. Like, for example, with my sequel to Humanity's End, I am honestly currently on like a roadblock with that, but that's more because I'm in the editing process and I really don't want to do editing right now, and so I took a pause on that, and now I'm working on Project Mystery, which you guys will learn more about that as I get closer to publishing with that story. And I jumped to that, which just brought back my love of writing again and my love of storytelling. And that doesn't mean that you have to just take a break forever and shelve that project forever. No, you can just work on a new project for a few days, and then if you go back to that story, then it, could rekindle that love for it and remove that writer's block. The third tip is to jump to an exciting part of your story. So let's say you have, like, I don't know, even it could be long or short. Let's say you only have 15 pages or 289. If you are currently working and you just cannot put pen to paper, you just cannot finish your thoughts or get anything else out, I would recommend going to an exciting part of your story, okay? Skip a few sections, rewind a bit, go to a part in your book that sparks that fire in you and that desire to write, because that also helps so much and will more than likely remove that writer's block, because now that fire inside you to finish the story starts rekindling, and I just think it's so important. So this is the fourth tip, is to read a book, okay? So yeah, I would say if you just need a break from, it's just a writer's block, it's just not working for you, okay, I would say reading will help. It's helped me, if I just step back from my project and just start reading, if that's a comfort book or a new book, I feel like when I read these, see how successful they are, it kind of rekindles that love for my story as well. And I think that, for me at least personally, has helped me get back into it and kind of remove the writer's block, because I feel like depending on the story that you choose to read, it can inspire you within your own story. So it could help reading a genre that is similar to your story. Like, let's say if you're writing a revolution, okay, for example, then maybe you should read a book kind of like that, where a kingdom gets overthrown and there's a whole revolution that takes place, like things like that, I think will really help rekindle that. So the fifth tip is to write somewhere else. Okay, so I honestly, a lot of times when I write in my living room, I'll write in my parents' bedroom, I'll write in my room. Those are kind of like usually the three places I write, and sometimes on my kitchen table. So thankfully I have a lot of different places, but I think it's important if you are going through writer's block and it's just like I cannot write anything, I would recommend going somewhere else, whether that's like a library or a bookstore or a park, somewhere that could kind of spark up that excitement for your story, spark up, some imagination for you to be able to write. Like, yes. And the sixth tip I would say personally has worked for me is creating Pinterest boards for your characters, for your stories. I think sometimes we might just need to take a step back and go a different creative route with our stories. Instead of just writing all the time, I think it's important to be able to visualize your story as well. And I have so many character boards and storyboards on Pinterest for my characters. If you guys want to know how to make those, I'll have the video linked in the description or in the upper right hand corner for you guys to click to check that out, because I think it is so important to make sure that you are still being visual, because a lot of writing is a mental thing, you know what I mean? Like, you're imagining these things happening, and I think it really helps when we can visualize it and actually see it, which also ties into tip number 7, create your character. If you are an artist, this might be a little easier for you to just develop your characters and draw them, but I'm talking about specifically Artbreeder, which again, if you want to see a video on Artbreeder, that will also be up linked in the upper right hand corner, because I made a video about that. But yeah, you can create your characters, which I think helps you as well visualize, which ties into tip number 6. And I think that'll help you get out of your writer's block when you can get excited for your characters, being able to see them. I feel like will get you excited and hyped for the story. Okay, tip number 8, I would say that I have personally done is listen to music that would be used in your story. So for example, with my Humanities End book, which was my debut novel, that book, when I was working on the sequel, I really listened to like zombie apocalypse type music. So this music with just this, I don't know how to explain it. Just look up like zombie apocalypse instrumental music and you'll probably see a video that I've watched. And that's just helped me so much. Okay, I'm not like so much of it helped me. And because when that music's playing, I just like close my eyes and I just can see my characters in my mind, and it kind of is a form of, and I guess that's not writing, but a form of, I guess, mind writing. That sounds really weird, but like just picturing your characters, and you can visualize what's gonna happen next. And I think that really helps with removing writer's block from personal experience. The 9th tip is to reject imposter syndrome. So that sounds really weird, but I feel like rejecting imposter syndrome, because I think if we can kind of put ourselves into writer's block if we don't think we're good enough. And I think imposter syndrome is something that I'm sure every single author or artist or sports player or actress, like I'm pretty sure every person at some point has felt an imposter syndrome and thinking, am I just a phony? Am I really good enough to become a best-selling author? What if everyone hates me? Like, this writing is so trash. And I think it's so important to be like, no. Let's stop those thoughts. And as a Christian, I think it's important to say scripture affirmations, to help correct that skewed mindset that us humans have on thinking we're not good enough for something, and to tell ourselves, no, we are, okay? We are made in God's image. God thinks we are amazing. I am writing this and he is proud of this, and we are going to do this. And I think that is just so beautiful and so important to make sure you are rejecting imposter syndrome hard, okay? And okay, this is the last tip, you guys, and I think you should just write. Okay, I think we focus so much on perfection as writers. We are trying to make sure our writing is perfect, even though we're not perfect, okay? Through Jesus Christ, we can become perfect, but that's a whole other conversation, not for a whole other video. But as far as our human nature, we are not perfect, so therefore, how can our writing become perfect from something that's imperfect? So, I think that you should just be able to just write, okay? Like, get a blank page, even if you want to start from a new story, just a complete new idea, just keep writing. Just write. Don't worry about, oh, that word's misspelled, or oh, that makes literally no sense. Just keep writing, and I think you might be able to surprise yourself with, wow, when you reread it, like, wow, that's actually not that bad. Okay, maybe writer's block was all in my head, and I can actually still write, which I think a lot of writer's block is a mental thing, but I think it can also be an emotional thing, a physical, like, I just think writer's block is just a whole thing. And I think each person's writer's block is different, because someone could randomly get it, or it could sprout from something happening in their life where they just shut writing out. So I think it's really a complicated thing, and I just hope that all of us writers can overcome writer's block, so we can block a writer's block. Okay, those are the 10 tips to help you guys eliminate writer's block from your writing lives, and I really hope, if not all of these tips, at least some were able to help you, or will be able to help you if you encounter or have encountered writer's block. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm Aléce Land, and if you want to support me and my mom's channel, please subscribe with those notifications on and like this video, so I know this is the type of content that you guys would like to see. And always remember, you can write too. Bye!